because people felt she was sort of covering for Dan Schneider just because he was her former boss and gave her a platform. She said,
I don't agree. I think some people just had worse experiences with him.
My feeling is that you're an evil man.
Oh Lord.
Hey Tori, maybe
My
you should play a woman who
childhood.
loves to make out with 2-foot tall guys who happen to be me.
Yep, and it doesn't just blow.
You flick that little red guy into reverse?
It sucks.
I felt like I was being treated unfairly.
Hold the hell up. Hold up. Am I catching this out of context? I don't remember this. Bro, I swear whenever you look back at some of the old childhood shows, it'd be some crazy stuff in there. And now that we got this information about Dan Schneider and how he being a weird guy, bruh, all of this stuff seem a little bit more weird.
Make out with 2-foot tall guys who happen to be me.
Yep, and it doesn't just blow.
You flick that little red guy into reverse?
It sucks.
I felt like I was being treated unfairly. Those are the powerful words of Victoria Justice, who has recently added fuel to the already blazing scandal surrounding Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider.
It's only gonna get worse.
When it rains,
It pours.
especially in the world of celebrities. Once a star is exposed for something shady, it is often just the beginning. It's like opening Pandora's box. Suddenly, everyone starts spilling the tea, revealing even more shocking secrets.
Bro, it's the same thing with Diddy, bro. Like every time something start to catch fire, the fire only spread. And literally, I did the complete inverse analogy than she did. She said when it rained, it pour. I feel like my analogy was low-key better. Because sometimes it be a little light sprinkle, this, that, and the other. Bro, once something catch on fire, it spread no matter what it is. Who y'all think got the better analogy? Anyway. The same thing happened with the Diddy situation and anything, that's crazy. Once somebody see that somebody down, everybody just start kicking them if they a horrible person.
Can't help but wonder, why did these stories stay hidden for so long? But then again,
People
why
were
do
scared.
people only start talking when someone else does? It's a
They
mystery,
feel more
but
secure.
one thing's for sure, the drama is real. Right now, the spotlight is on Dan Schneider, the famous American television producer and screenwriter. If you grew up watching Nickelodeon, you've definitely seen his work. Schneider's Bakery, his production company, brought us some of the most iconic shows like The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, and iCarly. Just hearing the name Nickelodeon might already give you a hint about where this is going. We're talking about an adult who spent a lot of time around kids, and now years later we're finding out he wasn't exactly the role model he thought he was. For those who are a bit
Role model?
late
Who
to
looked
the
at him as a
drama, don't worry, I'll
Never
fill you
mind.
in on all the details later. But first, let's talk about the latest bombshell. The one and only Victoria Justice has come forward, and she is demanding justice for what Dan Schneider did to her. This isn't just any story. It's long, it's heartbreaking, and it's going to leave you clutching your teddy bear tight. So without further
Teddy bear?
ado, let's dive right into it.
You know what's funny? Have you ever grabbed one of Victoria's ankles?
Oh no, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
What the hell?
No, I'm going down. I'm going down.
There she is. Oh yeah, that's all you have to do.
First, it was Drake Bell coming out with the most
Bro, you didn't even get good video, bro.
I'm going down.
There she is. Oh yeah, that's all you have to do.
First, it was Drake Bell coming out with the most heartbreaking, jaw-dropping, mind-blowing expose about what Dan Schneider did to him when he was a kid actor under him at Nickelodeon. This was just weeks ago, and the dust hasn't even settled yet. And here we are again with another former child star stepping forward. This time, it's Victoria Justice, and what she reveals is nothing to smile about. Victoria Justice literally deserves an apology. In fact, that apology is so long overdue because no one, much less a kid, should be anywhere near such an ill-intentioned adult. Oh snap, it just hit me that some of y'all might not even know who Victoria Justice is. Not that she needs an introduction because she was one of Nickelodeon's biggest stars, especially on shows like Victorious and Zoe 101. With that out of the way, let's get to the meat of the matter. This whole mess started years earlier with the release of the documentary Quiet on Set. It highlighted the dark side of being a TV kid, and now as adults, former Nickelodeon stars are no longer holding back when talking about their experiences on set. Not just the good stuff. I mean, we could all see that because, well, fame comes with a lot of perks. However, this documentary took a whole new spin because the former stars dug deeper into the mistreatment and the toxic environment that they had to endure when the cameras stopped rolling. And so it was finally Victoria's turn to spill the beans, and boy did she spill. First of all, Victoria said she completely completely cut ties with Dan Schneider once her show ended. But that did not mean she had forgotten the things he did to her. You know what? Let's just go straight to the article. While her experience working at Nickelodeon wasn't perfect, Justice defines it as, for the most part, positive. She credits the strong influence of her mother, who is never far from her daughter and always thinking about her future. The article further reads, as far as negatives, Victoria said, something that was very evident in the documentary is that Dan had a very large ego, and sometimes that ego clouded his better judgment and affected the way he treated people. And there were times I felt I was being treated unfairly. Victoria mentioned that most of the mistreatment happened towards the end of her tenure. But that is not all loves. She added that unlike her fellow cast members, it was never anything sexual. She stresses, though one of the documentary's more damning charges was that Schneider snuck sexual overtones and double entendres into his children's programming. The article further reads, in hindsight, Justice says there was certain moments that were in poor taste. She asks me if I saw the response Schneider released after the documentary, wherein he addresses some of the allegations and admits that he owes apologies to many people.
Bro, whenever we saw this apology or him actually addressing the situation, it was not real. It was fake. It was weird. We all know that. Don't act like we don't.
Victoria was referring to the video Schneider did after the expose, where he apologized.
And this coon right here is a damn sellout.
Apologized for his actions, but it did not sit well with a lot of people. We'll talk about that later. Anyways, Victoria then added, I would say I'm definitely one of the people on that list. Even though Victoria gave her side of the story as she had experienced it, she also got a bit of roasting online because people felt she was sort of covering for Dan Schneider just because he was her former boss and gave her a platform. She said,
I don't agree. I think some people just had worse experiences with him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, obviously, we can't discount that he a weirdo and he did some bad stuff. But at the exact same time, if you didn't see that side of him, like, the way you address it is not gonna be as harsh as somebody else. And as people, you just gotta respect that. You know, you gotta know that. You know, that's just part of human nature. You don't have a negative experience or a drastic negative experience. The same thing happened with any type of victims, you know what I'm saying? Especially if somebody who is a victim, they get the treatment and they've been around people who know that person. Like, them other people sometimes don't know that side of that person, but you do. So your criticism and the way you attack it is going to be a lot harsher, and rightfully so, you know? But I don't feel like the people who didn't have that harsh experience deserve any type of clownery or negative. I don't think she was covering for him. I think she was just talking from her experience. You can't get up there and talk crazy and bash somebody who you don't have experience with. I know we used to that because of the internet, but let's be completely honest, bro. Your friend that you've been friends with for years, you find out that, you know, somebody, he been treating or she been treating somebody completely horrible. If you didn't have that experience with them, you're not going to discount and say that that person not a horrible person, especially if it's true. But you also not about to get up there and just be like, nah, they're a horrible, shitty person, because that wasn't your experience. So I think it's just people got to be more open-minded and people got to be more real. I feel like a lot of people just be fake and they just be trying to expect people to go with the popular opinion or what they expected them to say. No, like, she's speaking on her experience. As long as it's, you know, congruent with what she experienced and the facts, you know, as long as she's not trying to, like, cover for him, which I don't think she is, I see where she's coming from, just off the little bit.
Aside from a couple of virtual and in-person reunions with the cast of Zoe 101 and Victorious, she has rarely been in contact with Schneider since leaving Nickelodeon, save for receiving the occasional birthday texts. This is the part that tipped everyone off, when she said, I'm not condoning any of his behavior. At the end of the day, my relationship with Dan is a very complex one. I met him when I was 12 years old, and he is the one person that gave me this big break. He completely changed my life. Most likely, I would not be here where I am today if it weren't for him and for him seeing something in me. For that, I will always be grateful. After watching his apology, I think he recognizes that he did a lot of wrong, and I think if he could step back in a time machine, he would do a lot of things differently.
Of course.
Like, why'd you have to say that? Like, I just saw that Victoria Justice, aka Lola, aka Tori, went on an interview and said that she was grateful to Dan Schneider. And, like, I get it, because it is kind of true that she would not be where she is now without Dan Schneider, but did we have to say it in an interview? Yeah, because if I was an ex-Nickelodeon actor...
What the hell she supposed to say? She supposed to lie? Like, bruh, she probably in a position that she knows she definitely would not be in if it wasn't for him. Even though he's a horrible person. The only thing that I saw from that little expose, the little text that they just showed, is the fact that she said after seeing that interview, she could definitely see that he feel like he did some wrong things. No, that nigga know he did some wrong shit. And now he trying to cover up so that he could at least have some saving grace, so he could at least have a little bit of sympathy. Like, you know what I'm saying? We know how negative, how weird people be. Of course he would go back and change stuff. I don't even think he would go back and change stuff if his life don't get like ruined from this. That's the thing. Whenever people get the consequences, that's when they wish they could go back and change things. But in the moment, them people don't feel sorry or feel bad at all.
You would not be able to waterboard the information out of me. Because you really need to read the room. Like, people are not happy with Dan Schneider right now. And you can't even really defend her with this one. Because I've been defending her with all that Ariana Grande beef and the whole we all can sing thing. But, like, Ariana Grande herself was a victim. So this looks really bad on your part. We all saw those inappropriate videos of Ari. Especially the one where she's pouring water all over herself. And she also saw what happened to her co-star Alexa on Zoe 101. So it's like, there really is no excuse. I mean, I don't know. Because I really like Victoria. But now I'm just disappointed.
Anyways, maybe Victoria didn't have a bumpy ride, but she needs to speak for herself, not assume that everyone else has forgiven Schneider like her. Furthermore, having her mother around may have protected her, which could explain why her bad moments weren't as bad as what some of the other kids went through. Upon this revelation, people have dug up a ton of video evidence where Victoria seemed to have had it with Dan Schneider. Some are even saying her body language was clearly a cry for help. In some clips, she looked happier, but people were quick to mention that Victoria was just trying to mask her frustrations. Deep down, she wasn't okay.
We're here with the cast is over.
Everybody do that though, for real, for real.
Podcast time.
Hi.
Victoria, turn down the music, would you?
I will, only for you.
Thank you. Yeah! Thank you very much. I have come specifically to find a certain person by the name of Victoria Justice.
What is it this time?
I think you know what this time is. I think you know what's going to happen right now. Victoria, and make her eat one sardine, and then I would post the video.
How many times I saw you? I'm not gonna eat a sardine. I've never been a sardine person.
With all the not so
She
nice
keeping it
stuff
real.
that has been revealed about Dan Schneider, people were super concerned when a behind-the-scenes video surfaced of just the two of them together. Nobody knows what happened or even why it was just the two of them in such a dark room.
This is a video?
It is.
You can take videos?
Take the mouth guard out.
Here's another scene that didn't sit well with a lot of people.
Hey, Tori, maybe you should play a woman who loves to make out with 2-foot tall guys who happen to be me.
To shut him up, Tori gives him a big smooch. And this leaves Rex a shuddering mess who can't seem to think of anything, much less a good quip.
Rex?
Take me home.
It's hard to tell what Rex's reaction means. Either he was incredibly uncomfortable with the affection, or, more likely, he enjoyed Tori's kiss a little too much.
Would you like a sausage?
Bro, what are we actually talking about right now? This is not even weird. I'm not gonna lie. This is just humor, bro. It's a puppet. The puppet was supposed to act like a person who obviously has not had very much woman interaction. He's been having a crush on her the whole show. She gave him a kiss. He's distraught. He never thought that was gonna happen, so he a little bit shook. Bruh, what are we talking about? Uncomfortable? We know what this is if you've watched the show.
Sure, okay.
Excellent. Here's a nice fat one.
What kind of sausage is this?
Oh, just sausage. You know.
You want to get slapped with a sausage? Sure. No!
There is so much to
Now that's a
unpack
little
here,
weird.
as you can already tell. A lot of the jokes Dan Schneider created were in poor taste. Here are some more.
What the hell? What the hell?
College yet? Bye. Who loves coconuts?
Those are good ones.
Oh my god, no, no, no!
Wow. Never heard that from a girl before. Are those Pagelli Huchos?
Uh-huh.
I've seen them on TV.
I have 142 more at home.
Oh, yeah?
Then give us those.
What?
You want our Pagelli Huchos?
What are we gonna do?
Well, we could stay back here and snoodle.
Gross.
Hello, Sinjin.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is exactly how I dreamed it would happen.
Come on, let's just go. It'll be fun.
No.
Why not?
Because I didn't shower this morning and I had tuna fish for lunch and there's a dude in the back seat.
I
What
told y'all
the
some of
hell?
these scenes were so uncalled for, especially in a kids show. This is
Yeah.
why people were surprised that Victoria was trying so much to cover for Dan Schneider, the same man who placed her in a lot of compromising situations. If you thought those scenes were gross, then wait till you hear this. Believe it or not, those bizarre and disgusting taglines were always put at the end of every episode, and yeah. You tell me if this was appropriate for a kids show. But that's not all, loves. There's a whole new twist to this Victoria situation. You know how those
Really?
online detectives are. They never miss a thing. Right after Victoria opened up about her experiences with Dan, the internet went wild. You see, on the one hand, people were beyond pissed because Victoria was
Bro, I hope you online detectives actually learn to make money off of this, because you could make a lot of money just by doing YouTube videos, you talking about the stuff that you find in this, that, and the other. If you're just doing this to comment this in the comment section, you need to seek help. What are you doing with your time?
Dan, the internet went wild. You see, on the one hand, people were beyond pissed because Victoria was super quick to defend Dan and brush off everything just because he made her. On the other hand, literally everyone started questioning her timing big time. Why now, right? Well, here's where things get even spicier. Victoria had just dropped some new music, and some people were whispering that maybe she just wanted a bit of the spotlight to help promote it. They're saying that there's no way it is just a coincidence. Otherwise, they believe she would have stayed quiet. On the flip side, some fans totally get why Victoria might be trying to play nice. They said even though she was one of Dan's victims, she had to be careful about her career. It's tough out there in Hollywood, and keeping things cordial could be her way of making sure she still gets roles and opportunities. The comments were flooded with mixed reactions. She already got blackballed once. I'm sure she doesn't want that to happen again. People choose to hold on to gratitude. It shows that she's not holding on to trauma. She's allowed to say what she needs to say. Dan Schneider is creepy.
Yeah.
I think she was either paid off or nothing really happened. I don't blame her for saying that she's grateful for Dirty Dan. She became a star because of his shows. Would she be famous if she stayed in Disney? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe she could have been Alex Russo. So what's really going on with Victoria Justice and Dan Schneider? Maybe she was just trying to shine some light on her traumatic experiences during her TV days, or this could have been about her music. Remember guys, it was also said that Dan would normally leave his main actors alone, and that it was mostly the more easily replaceable child stars that he harassed more, so yeah.
Ariana Grande, easily replaceable? Stop it.
Mostly the more easily replaceable child stars that he harassed more, so yeah, there's a chance Victoria never saw the worst of him because, in case y'all forgotten, Victoria had a whole show written about her. That's how big of a deal she was. However, before we proceed, you guys, can you imagine what Victoria Justice and the others must have been going through after all of this? It's got to be tough dealing with that kind of trauma from what happened with Dan Schneider. They'll definitely need a lot of support and therapy to heal from that mess.
This is a video?
It is.
You can take videos?
Take the mouth guard out.
Why is that funny as hell?
My spittle got in the way.
Yes, we can record video.
Alright, moving on. Covering this whole dirty Dan Schneider situation was beginning to feel tiring and literally messing with my mental health because the Drake Bell expose was just too much. And let's not forget that instead of taking accountability, Dan's first response was to run to the courts trying to sue everyone. He even tried to get the documentary brought down, you guys.
Wait, I don't remember that.
To another planet, he literally would have, because he did everything within his power to try to reshape the narrative. He only came out to apologize upon realizing that his options were super limited and that he had been caught. Now that more and more people were coming out to speak against him.
Over the past 2 nights was very difficult. Me facing my past behaviors, some of which are embarrassing and that I regret. And I definitely owe some people a pretty strong apology.
Yep, the typical celebrity apology. Reminds me of Colleen Ballinger's apology. Dan's apology isn't enough, prison is enough. The details just keep getting more and more intense, loves.
That's valid as hell.
Because unlike Victoria Justice, several other Nickelodeon stars weren't going easy on Dan Schneider. Let's start with Lori Beth Denberg. Lori's story is sad just as it is shocking. Lori Beth was on Dan Schneider's show, All That, and she had quite a story to tell. According to the article, at At first, Dan Schneider came off as a concerned director. This was after Lori had a very unfortunate experience with another producer. Lori Beth Denberg remembers Dan Schneider calling her into his office and telling her to shut the door. It was 1995, around Denberg's 19th birthday, and Nickelodeon's hit comedy show All That had recently wrapped its first season. Denberg was one of the show's stars. So when Schneider, the head writer of All That, heard that a female producer had met with Denberg to discuss her weight gain, he was angry. Schneider told Denberg he should have been the one to have that conversation. After all, he understood what it was like to be overweight. So at first, Lori thought that Schneider had her back. However, things started to shift soon after. Lori revealed that Schneider would always have her play very compromising scenes like this.
Good to make a sandwich. It's weird to make out with a sandwich.
According to Lori, the first time this happened was when Dan had her perform on a donkey, and the whole thing was just too sus for her. But it didn't stop there. Lori recalled that in the entire 4 seasons she featured in the show, she had to put up with extremely unpleasant stuff on multiple occasions. Lori said that upon looking back, there was a huge power imbalance between her and Dan, which made him take advantage of her. Of course, Dan responds to Lori's claims, but with the usual celebrity PR apologies. You know, the rehearsed scripted acknowledgments, oozing fake sincerity, and crafted to make you forget their scandals. When Dan responded to Lori, he said, "As I previously stated, there were times, particularly in the early years of my career, that I made mistakes and exhibited poor judgment as a leader. If I did that with respect to Lori Beth, I sincerely apologize to her. I cannot apologize to things I did not do." Like I said, the usual BS, cause really, is this an apology or is he denying Lori's accusations? I'm confused. Things got worse for Lori, guys. She recalled a time where their interaction.
I really think Dan just at that point where he felt like he put in enough effort to give an apology. The people who gon' forgive him, go forgive him. I feel like a lot of people not, because a lot of the stuff was just weird. You a grown man. You took advantage of the power that you had, and you did it on multiple occasions. There's so many accounts that it's no way. Like, that's just a part of you, bro. And he to that point to where he kind of fed up. So every apology from now on is just going to be regurgitated apologies. He really, he just over it, I feel like, So I wouldn't expect too much from this dude,
developed into a friendship, but a super toxic one. Like, really toxic. Like, on one incident when she was around 20, things became physical. It all started when Dan and Lori were watching Jeopardy at his home, and Dan made a bet that whoever won would get a massage. Lori ended up winning, but what Dan did to her isn't something I can say here. But you can imagine what was an old man doing with a 20-year-old kid alone in his home at night. And if you think about it, Dan had this all figured out.
That's weird.
Because he was the one who would always come up with those rules of the weird games. And now, years later, Lori finally finds the courage to speak up. He puts up some lame apology that's not even an apology to begin with. In a separate incident, Lori said that once at dinner with writers and crew members, she recalled Schneider asking the group whether they ever noticed Denberg's breasts were different sizes. Denberg, who was 18 or 19 at the time, said that she responded by throwing a bread roll at Schneider, hoping to—
Nah, hell no. This is weird. Nah, this is off limits. You gotta be paying hella attention to notice something like that. Nah, this man's weird, bruh.
Diffuse the situation. And of course, you all know that the most damning and terrific allegations came from Drake Bell. Drake had one of the most traumatizing encounters in the hands of Dan Schneider and other producers like Brian Peck. All in all, none of these kids deserve to go through any of this. They should have been protected and given a safe space to work. The story has turned out worse than we thought, and it doesn't seem like Schneider is facing the consequences he deserves. Honestly,
at all.
He should be in jail. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to turn on the notification button to catch the latest scoop on celebs.
Bro, this video was very eye-opening. In conclusion, I feel like, honestly, she was just speaking on her account. I don't know why she decided to speak right now. It could have been music, or it could have been people pressuring her to speak out on the situation because she was involved. They want to know her side of the story. A lot of the times, we discount the fact that us as the people who are fans of these people like Victoria, we be wanting to know more. We be wanting to know about their life. We, especially something like this, we want to know if she was taken advantage of or what the situation may have been, and she decided to speak on it, and people was not satisfied with the way that she handled it or the way that she spoke about it. I don't think it was coming from a place of you know, her taking up for him or anything like that. I think she was just honestly speaking about how she felt about the situation in terms of her perspective. And I don't think that we could take her perspective and try to twist it into, oh, I wanted you to trash Dan Schneider because he's a horrible person. Obviously, he a horrible person. We know that. She probably know that. But based on her account, she got to speak on it from her account, bruh. But y'all let me know how y'all felt about it in the comment section below. Do you think that Victoria Justice should have, you know, spoke more harshly about him? Or do you think that she just spoke on it from her perspective? Let me know in the comment section below. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.